Never let labels define who you are as an individual. These labels are nothing more than boxes for you and your consciousness because it's much easier to divide people if they have a label. I don't buy into labels. Labels for people who are sheep and are members of the herd. I don't buy into labels. I am what I am and I explore what I explore. I am not a label. I am a sovereign, conscious human being. That's who I am. I choose what I do and I choose how to explore it. I will not be defined by a single belief system, an ideology, an attitude, or a personal preference. You name it. I am what I am. I explore what I explore. I am not a label. I am a human being. And I'm not going to let anyone else listening to this should not let anyone out there let them be defined by that. Because I am what I am. And you, everybody else, should feel the same way. Not to be defined by labels. Not to be marked down by labels. For those out there who are open-minded and not afraid to explore all sorts of knowledge and things out there on the quest of raising your consciousness and the quest to just be you, a free will being that wants to explore and to actually try to do things that make you feel good for yourself. And yet people out there, what I mean by feel good is by actually doing things that a lot of doing. Let's say you have certain hobbies or certain preferences or attitudes out there. Nothing that causes harm to anyone else individually, of course. But what if you're that person out there that wants to explore things or do things that actually are quote unquote not acceptable by the norm? Screw the norm. The norm. How about I take a giant piece of take a stick and just shove it up Norm's ass? Because norms are nothing more than just constructs, cultural constructs. That's what they are. Screw norms. Norms can go suck it. And if we are to have this thing called norms, how about these norms need to be based on the natural laws of creation, the natural laws of conduct and behavior, based on right and wrong actions, harm versus no harm. I understand people out there have preferences and you're going to be disgusted by people's preferences and taste in something in life. I mean, that's the thing about it. You don't have to like it, but you're going to have to respect the fact that somebody wants to live a certain way or want to be a certain way. People have been told for so long that you can't do this because of your gender, because of your skin color, or because of your race. You have to act stereotypically. You have to be in this box. You have to be generic. You have to be a cardboard cutout like everybody else. Screw what those people say. Those people suck, and I mean they suck. This might sound insulting, honestly. And you might be saying, but those people, what if they're my friends or my family? I'm sorry, but if those people out there are giving you a hard time and not respecting you in that aspect, in that way, they suck. I'm sorry, I have to say, but people out there that try to tell you to be something just because everywhere else is, I mean, how can you respect that? I mean, I'm not telling you to immediately disown your family and your friends. It's not that simple. I'm just saying that you're going to have to tell them, hey, you're going to have to accept me for who I am. You may not like me for doing this or choosing that just because of the fact that it falls outside of the fact that I'm not a part of this or a part of that, or I'm doing something that's not what typically a man or typically a woman or whoever does, or typically people of this race or skin color does, just because I like this preference of music, just because, I like this preference of, this is my sexuality or my desire to explore this sexuality here and there, or this is my, or I want to actually, or this is my, or my taste in anything else in general, because people out there are judged based on who they are. People are actually walking, talking stereotypes. I mean, people need to stop being predictable. Stop trying to be a walking stereotype. Be who you are. Just be who you are. Try it for once. Go out. It's liberating to be. It's exercising your personal sovereignty to the fullest and your best out there. That's what you got to do, and that's something I've been learning. It's funny because It's something I've slowly have come to realize fully. That you have to just be who you are, regardless of what people think. It might be awkward at first, but you actually get used to it, I think. Then again, I may not be speaking for you, but that's what you have to do. I'm just sick and tired of living in a world where if you do something, you're labeled this or that. Especially, or if you're seeking knowledge, and you look into these things, you try to adapt that to yourself, since it works out for you, people are going to label you this or that. I'm just tired of people in their unidimensional thinking, the fact that they've been trained and educated into believing this. That's one of the main reasons why these systems of control have to go. And these systems, especially things such as religion and education, they're probably religion, education, politics, these systems, as you know, that's the reason why they have to go down eventually. They have to change and evolve into something special. We need to get away from religion to start actually doing things based on. As for religion, I understand people out there may want to get together in groups and do things and share things together. But the problem here is that when it becomes a cult, or we become something where it's us versus them, that becomes a problem. We need to evolve beyond belief systems that try to put a monopoly on truth, like religion, like politics, like government. All these things put a monopoly on truth, especially when they try to feature a hierarchy that says that this is our way and everybody's going to have to live that way. These systems are based around how many people live a way that's based on how someone else lived. People need to stop trying to go down a path that's not theirs. That's not your path. Find your own path in alignment with cosmic law, universal law. Find your own path, but as long as you're not doing it in a negative, selfish, egoic way. Find your own path. Do it from a higher purpose. Come on, people. You can do this. Stop it. Stop following the herd. Stop being defied in label. Screw those labels. If somebody labels you a certain way just because you try to do something outside of what you are, what you stereotypically are, then screw them. They'll take those labels and shove up where you know where to shove it up. Those labels, because labels stink. They smell so bad that you can't even wash it off fast enough. No, and those labels suck. And this is something from the heart. This is something that's coming from my heart for a long time, because I want to see people out there starting to actually, let's put it this way, on the path of consciousness, when it comes to becoming enlightened. Okay, maybe that's not the right term per se. More like when you're evolving in consciousness. And one of the things you're going to come to realize is that you are what you are on a soul level. You realize that not all these norms that try to dictate what you are not what it is. So start living by who you are on the inside. Start living free. We live on a planet where there's a lot of BS and nonsense. The least you can do with your life, one way to have fun, is by exploring things. Start exploring things. Don't let these old labels or whatever, or don't let these fears or being labeled this and that just because you're exploring this, or you're taking upon something new, or you want to try to experiment with different ways of living and so forth. In expressing yourself as a soul. If you're gonna start doing those things. That's one way of having fun on this planet, because it isn't a lot of fun to have as it is. When you're becoming more awakened, it's very difficult to have fun when you're living in a reality where there's a lot of stuff going on and you notice a lot of things. One of the ways I have fun is by giving the finger to all the people out there that want you to be a certain way. And I'm not afraid to get in someone's face and tell them off and tell them, look, you got a problem with me? Well, that's too bad. What you going to do about it? What you going to physically do about it? Because I dare you to lay a finger on me if you got a big problem about it. If you're not going to do that, then you better turn your tail around and walk your ass away. Because I don't care about you, and I sure know you sure as hell don't care about me as an individual and soul. We need to tell these people out there that we are not going to be violated and disrespected for who we are. Just because this is also a message to all the people out there who are all the so-called misfits out there and the people who are different, this is my message to you people. But this is to everybody listening to this video. I want everyone out there to tell it to these people, and to stick it to them. Stick it so hard that they can't get it off their bodies. Thanks for listening, because this is one of my most charged up things in my mind that I have to let out. And I said to myself, I got to turn this into a video. I have to, because if I don't later, I'm not going to be charged up now. So please do it do it, please. I want to see more people out there saying screw the system. That's one of the biggest ways of giving the finger to the system, and even the dark forces as well, because the dark forces is going to hate it if you actually if you're going to stop holding you back, because that's a limiting belief. Limiting attitudes, limiting beliefs, that's part of it. The whole oh, I don't want to do this because I don't want this person to think me as this, or because of the fact that I'm a man, I can't express myself a certain way, or because I'm a woman, I can't express myself a certain way, or if I look into this and start adapting this into my lifestyle, people are going to think I'm this or that. You know, when people look into different philosophies and attitudes, and they're going to think, oh, you're this or that. And people, I mean, come on. Don't be defied by labels. Labels are for suckers. Labels are for the herd. I mean, you don't want to be labeled, ironically, think of yourself as the herd. That's the only label that I actually believe that exists. One of the few. And that's being a part of the herd. Don't be a walking stereotype. You're not a walking stereotype. Come on. You know that. If you're going to get out of bed, since it's noon already, and stop being held down in bed because you're thinking, oh man, I don't want those labels, man. I don't want those labels. Don't let labels define you. Tell those people, yeah, you can think what you want, but I'm not that. Screw labels. They suck. Let's deal. And that's something they're gonna have to deal with. I'm like, come at me if you got a problem with that. To the people out there that try to give you labels and try to give you a hard time, I tell them that. I also want to mention the way you look, the way you dress. That all ties into that as well. That's what I'm saying is, hold on, sorry about that. But that ties into the whole thing. Don't let people, like I said, don't honestly let those things influence you. Don't look at yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror and you say, if you do have a legitimate problem with your body image, you know, you want to look like something different, ask yourself, is it because of the fact that you deep down really want this in your heart, or this is part of your higher aspect want this, or because of the fact that it's because of what society thinks of you? Ask yourself that question. Is it based on what society thinks of you and your image, of what you look like and how you dress and how you speak and behave and look? It's funny how I say speak, because of the fact is I honestly don't like the sound of my own voice. I sound really, really weird when I speak. I sound very weird. I don't even like but that's a personal thing. It's not because of what society thinks. But see, that's the thing right there, because we all have our things that we don't like about ourselves. But the only difference is that I don't let that become this limiting problem, because if it was, I would not be doing none of this at all. I would not be making any of these videos at all. That's the only difference. You know, of course, there's going to be things about yourself that you may not like, but won't let it. But I'm talking about if it's a problem to the point where it's harming your self-worth. Because the last thing you need is a self-worth issue when you're trying to raise your consciousness as a real souled individual. So you're not going to raise yourself up if you're letting that hold you back, because it's going to anchor you down and keep you trapped in this dark, dingy reality of suffering, insecurity, limitation, and fear. Don't let that defy you as well. You know, look yourself in the mirror. I mean, that's the thing about it. The best way, because people are going to look past that if you actually project who you are on a soul level. Because you're a beautiful person on the inside. I'm not saying this to sound corny. I'm not saying this to make you just to make you feel better. I literally mean that everybody on the inside, no matter how they look on the outside, are beautiful. I mean, there is people out there who made to other people out there look hideous on the outside, but on the inside, they got this in the inside. They got this beautiful thing called the soul. They got a beautiful soul on the inside. And that's attractive. And that could be attractive. Use that beauty on your This whole inner beauty thing sounds corny, but there's literal real meaning to it. You have to take it seriously. But at the same time, don't be arrogant about it, because that's going to make it worse. Or use it as a, oh, screw you type of mentality, you know? I mean, show the inner beauty within yourself. I know it sounds corny, but I'm serious about this. I'm not trying to sound all trying to give you a bunch of useless advice here. I'm giving you some hardcore, hard-hitting advice. And go out there and assert it. Don't be half-assed about it. Don't be half-hearted. Assert that. Assert it. You can do it. Come on. Do that. Assert the beauty within yourself. Because people are going to look past that, what you think is flaws on the outside. Because you're going to attract people to you. Just based on what is in here. The inner beauty within yourself. You know, that's what I mean. Don't let all this stuff about your body image, about what you think, the way you look, and all this stuff get to you as well. I'm including that as well for people out there as well. And also, one more thing. What it all comes down to the end is having the best damn self-confidence you can have. Because that's going to override a lot of things. It's going to override all those flaws. You know, it's all about having self-confidence. But don't cross the fine line, because don't let it turn into cockiness now. It's about self-confidence. That's what it's about. And it's about building that up within yourself. And building it up, that's another topic for another day. But that's what it also comes down to when it comes to asserting yourself. Having self-confidence. A real sovereign individual is someone who has self-confidence. Unapologetic, dead-on self-confidence.